Why you consider them terrorists?
Why do you consider Hezbollah terrorists? Hello. Defending Asmongold was not on my bingo card for 2026, and yet here we are. All of you last time complained about my setup, and honestly, it's just me and my phone out here. So if you want, you can subscribe so I can afford a real camera. And it really does say something when Asmongold is the most reasonable person online. And nothing against Asmongold, I really agree with a lot of his politics. You know, the internet lost it when they're calling Asmongold terrorist propaganda. Let's see why he thinks Asmongold is a terrorist. As someone from the Middle East, I'm excited to learn. What does a terrorist look like to you?
I would pick Israel every day of the week, and anybody who doesn't want you to do that is probably listening to terrorist propaganda.
And apparently, Asmongold is concerned with peace in the Middle East. How does he propose to achieve this peace? Well, with bombs.
Because Lebanon has terrorists in it. They have Hezbollah in it. Again, they're firing rockets into Israel. They are.
The only reason I'm here in Canada is because of those rockets that they kept firing at me. Y'all did the thing. Do you want me to talk to ISIS?
If we make peace with Iran, they no longer consider us a mortal enemy. Why is that not an acceptable outcome to you? Because they're not. They're just going to lie to you.
And that's the truth. And that's exactly what they did to Obama, to every president. That's also how they are. They're liars. And even if they call it a peace treaty, it's not peace when they can keep killing us in peace, I guess. That's your peace. No thanks.
They're ideologically captured. They're religious zealots, and they can't be allowed to be trusted. They've already broken too many deals before. They've lied too many times.
Hezbollah is a terrorist group, so he says. And Iran funds them, ergo, we have to bomb the terrorists.
Can you tell your argument why you consider them terrorists?
Why do you consider Hezbollah terrorists?
Because they fund people that attack and kill civilians on purpose and target civilians to kill them.
Not just that, also, they believe in martyrdom for Allah. Here's my favorite quote, and hearing the Washington Post refer to Nasrallah as a father figure. Clearly, someone at the Washington Post has daddy issues.
Israel is targeting men, women, children, journalists, healthcare workers, hospitals, ambulances. They are leveling entire cities. In the first month of attacks on Lebanon alone, they used it to burn over 10,000 acres of forest and farmland. These are all war crimes.
Here's where it's gonna get complicated for your simple black-white narrative. Part of how Hezbollah operates is through human shields. Remember that thing of why we call them terrorists?
And slightly problematic
It's because they brainwash their youth to die in this holy war. The more the better, because the more people killed, the more money they get, and the more mad you get, and making a video about it, hating Israel. And instead of blaming Israel and how we operate in a war zone against terrorists that want to kill us, I would much rather you ask them, why do they build their weapon caches in the middle of children's rooms? That seems reasonable to you, and then you come to us asking why did we blow up their building? And here's one of my favorite examples, and there's 10 more minutes. Yay!
On October 3rd, 2024, Israel bombed a medical center in Beirut. That same month, Israel destroyed a significant portion of an entire city and demolished a number of ancient historical sites. 12th, 2026, Israel bombed a beachside tent encampment housing people that they had displaced from their bombings. No evacuation warning was issued. This was in a safe zone. It said it was targeting Hezbollah. And the same is true of Asmongold's endorsement of Israel's stated goal of eliminating Hamas. That may be what Israel says it's doing, but in reality, what Israel's actually doing in Gaza is killing entire families by leveling apartment blocks, killing toddlers with machine guns, shooting babies in the head with snipers.
Oh, in the Nuseirat camp too.
While they're being breastfed by their mothers alone in tents in broad daylight. Civilians in Gaza have been civilians.
God Association again.
Majority of the people that Israel has killed in Gaza have been civilians. That is the conclusion of every independent expert. The only ones still denying it in 2026 are Israel and the United States, and the content creators online that defend them for some reason still. In the first week of the war, the United States blew up an Iranian elementary school.
Now, okay, the Minab school, where were you when the Islamic Republic gassed their own school children? Where were you when the Islamic Republic uses schools as military bases?
Every single page of the history book proves me right.
But I'm not sure which ones he read, because if you look back at any point, you will find the United States committing these same kinds of atrocities across the globe for their wars of aggression.
If it wasn't for the United States, all of Europe will be speaking German right now.
What makes someone a terrorist? Well, for Asmongold, terrorism is defined as the use of violence against civilians for political goals.
Because they fund people that attack and kill civilians on purpose and target civilians to kill them.
A part of his definition for terrorism is the inability to abide by the terms of agreements.
If we are signing a deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran, we are just delaying this war until later on. They're not going to stop trying to build a nuclear bomb. They will just blow something else up in a week.
Israel and the United States do both of those things, and funding and arming arming and supporting governments that mass murder civilians in campaigns of genocide. But they
Excuse me? You want to talk about funding governments when you're supporting the Islamic Republic, the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism? Really? That's the argument you want to make?
Despite observations from independent experts that Iran was abiding by the terms of the agreement, it was the United States who randomly decided to pull out and then proceed to administer brutal sanctions on Iran, widely understood to be an unprovoked act of aggression that was condemned by governments across the globe. Hezbollah fired a total of 4 rockets, but for him, that's a valid reason to promote the IDF's destruction of a sovereign country. So now, okay, of course, there's a double standard, right?
And that's how terrorism propaganda propagate. The way I define terrorist as someone who believes in martyrdom, thinks that violence to establish a global caliphate is justified, believes in infidels and kafirs, thinks in spreading Islam.
Anybody that's chanting death to America, anybody that's going around talking about how they're going to attack the United States or anything else, totally shut them down.
For their violence. He gets mad at viewers that point out the contradiction regarding Israel.
AIPAC funded? Haha, right. It's Israel. Israel's so bad. Do you think Israel's interest is honest with America? I'm not interested in your misdirection towards Israel. This is just terrorist subversion.
Let me tell you, as an Israeli, I just want to live. I don't care. I don't want to be obsessed with the conflict. I'm an introvert that has to talk to a herd of brainwashed zombies because you believe in terrorist propaganda and somehow Israel, the one democracy in the Middle East, is responsible for all the hardship and not the other lunatics we're surrounded by.
The only thing that I care about is neutralizing that threat. You're doing it. Okay, that's the problem.
If radical Islam is White Walkers, Israel is the wall. And no, it's not propaganda because, like it or not, Israel is the biggest defender of human rights and freedom in the Middle East. In the middle of the Middle East, Israel is the only defender of human rights and democracy and freedom. So yeah, we're kind of the best you've got. And look, I'm the first to say Israel isn't perfect. I live in Canada. You're going after Israel when you should be going after maybe, I don't know, anyone else. Pick at random. Pick a state. But if you really want, the head of the snake is in Tehran. No,
well, damn, that's too bad.
Again,
I guess we're gonna have to attack them again.
We, Americans, and the Israelis, the inhabitants of our overseas proxy military colony, we have a right to live, and they do not. We have human rights, and they do not, are not. To quote Asmongold,
you are not the reason they don't have human rights in the Middle East. And the reason we don't have human rights in the Middle East is because you keep supporting the terrorists that take away our rights.
for them, it can all be explained by Hamas's lack of firepower. If they had the weapons Israel had, they'd do the same.
If Hamas lay down their weapons, there will be no war. If Israel lay down their weapons, there will be no Jews.
Israel had to, as Asmongold put it, nip it in the bud.
If you don't kill them, they will kill you.
You really don't understand extremism, the Middle East, or radical Islam to make that claim.
Now, they might not kill you today, but they'll kill you in a year. They'll kill you in 10 years. To the extent that they have the capacity to, they will use that capacity to harm you. Stop it from happening to even, stop it from even beginning to happen.
Before Hezbollah existed, Israel invaded Lebanon, killed tens of thousands of people, the vast majority of whom were women and children, directly facilitated the slaughter and rape of thousands of civilians in the Sovereign Shatila massacre.
By the way, the Lebanon civil war and the reason Israel had to invade was also Palestinians, because wherever you let Palestinians in, there is chaos.
Fighting to get Israel out of their country. And that's exactly what they did.
It's because right now, Israel and Lebanon, as we speak, are trying to work out a peace agreement. And the only reason and the only one objecting this peace agreement is Hezbollah. So much so that they threaten Lebanon with full-scale civil war. And he is over here supporting Hezbollah as freedom fighters here to liberate Lebanon. But no, this guy over here wants to explain to you about the Middle East why Hezbollah are not terrorists. Take it away.
150,000 Palestinians, over 80% of the Arab population of what became Israel, were ethnically cleansed. This event, the Nakba, and all of the violence in its wake, the moral calculus doesn't change. Resisting invasion, occupation, and genocide,
it's not what they're doing. Again, buzzwords.
Through armed struggle, is moral and just and legal. Is moral and just and legal.
That's the struggle you want to justify? Wow.
And it should not be condemned. And it should not be condemned. Your own personal feelings towards the methods are irrelevant. Your own personal feelings towards the methods are irrelevant. They do not matter. Not when you live in the West and not in Palestine. Not when you live in the West.
Not when you live in the West and not when you live in Palestine. So are you, sir, are you okay with going through October 7, you and your friends and your family, assuming you live in the West, which is where you're making this video from? Do you realize that you are right now justifying October 7 in the West too?
Terrorist propaganda.
Israel should keep bombing Lebanon because Lebanon has terrorists in it. They have Hezbollah in it.
Profoundly profoundly ignorant, factually incorrect, and morally demented.
Hezbollah has crippled them so much they don't have the power, the arms, or the capacity to fight them themselves, so they came to Israel asking for help with their terrorist tumor.
But if there is anyone watching that wants to actually engage with the facts critically, I would encourage them to consult any of the resources on screen now. If you don't want to have to hear me talk about people like Asmongold ever again, if I get enough patrons, I'll be able to do that.
At least he admits that the only reason he's doing it is so that he can talk about Asmongold for clout. And if you want to see me debunk real terrorist propaganda so that you don't have to, subscribe for more.